Good afternoon to one and all present over here for this grand occasion on IIC program, the orientation program. So the program that we are going to make it today is an important in an IIC calendar activity, the named orientation session for all students and faculties of an institution by Innovation Ambassador. So I take this opportunity to welcome our today's chief guest, the young and dynamic person in the institution, Dr. S. Balakrishnan, and professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and Business Systems, and is working in Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology. And around he is having 18 years of experience in the teaching and research. So I also take this opportunity on behalf of our Vice Chairman, Engineer E.V. Kumaran sir, and our respected Registrar Dr. R. Sathisilan sir, and our beloved Principal Dr. Ravichandran sir, and various heads of the departments, especially Professor Ilango from AEC department, and Professor Jayakumar sir from Mechanical department, and Professor Nagarajan sir from MBA department on gathering on this occasion. So on behalf of all of the institution, I just happy to invite sir. And Professor Balakrishnan sir having published more than 20 books, and he's having 27 technical articles in Computer Society of Communication magazines, and around 100 plus cited journals has been published over the reputed journal. He has been published the papers, and he has been filed 18 patents over the period of 15 months actually. So he's also acting as an IEEE brand ambassador and as well as an IIC ambassador. So on behalf of the Institution Innovation Council of Arunai Engineering College, I am happy to welcome Professor Dr. S. Balakrishnan sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
And I also take the privilege to make our beloved principal to felicitate the gathering. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jagdish. So it's an orientation session for all students and faculties of Institute by Innovation Ambassador program. Arunai Engineering College is very proud in organizing this program with the institution ambassador, Dr. Balakrishnan from Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology. Good afternoon, one and all. Institution Innovation Council at institutions are envisioned an instrumental role to drive innovation and inculcate startup atmosphere at campus while connecting with respective advisors at regional and national level. For this, the role of faculty being a member of IIC is very much important, mandatory to play as a mentor or guide young minds in the pursuit of innovation and entrepreneurship, and equally crucial for mentors to have an adequate mentoring skills. So with these objectives, we are organizing this program considering the very fact that many of the higher education institutions need an initiative in innovation and startup mentor capacity to guide students on IPR, innovation, entrepreneurship, and so on. So with this few thoughts, I would like to appreciate and invite Dr. Balakrishnan for giving a orientation session for all our students and faculties. Thank you, one and all.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I request Professor S. Balakrishnan sir to take over the session. Please, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your nice introduction. It gives me a great pleasure for me to extend my wishes to all the participants. Once again, good afternoon to one and all present here. So it's a very great opportunity for me to, with all other students, to interact with all other students in terms of innovation ambassador. So the today topic is the teaching workshop from an idea to business concept. So how we are integrating, how we are converting our idea into business. So whenever we are coming up with the good ideas, it's hard, but convincing others to do something with them is somewhat harder. So the task of bringing an idea to someone with the power to do something with it, it is called as a pitch. So whenever the pitch may be any software ideas, or it may be any implementation strategies, or we may say movie screenplays, some organization with changes, and also business plan. So all the way, but the scenario may be varied, the industry may be varied, the field may be varied or may be different. But all the way the pitch is common. Either it's a software idea or implementation strategy, some sort of movie screenplay, business plan, and organizational changes. So all the concepts. These are all pitched from one person to another person. So if you are an entrepreneur, you need to know how to pitch your business. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, before becoming an entrepreneur, you must know how to pitch your business or how to pitch your idea into business format. So that's a very important thing. So today, next 45 minutes to 1 hour, we are speaking about that how to convert that idea into business concept like that. So whenever planning to pursue funding for such an entrepreneur, it must having a solid elevator pitch that ensure that you know the business inside and out. So which comes in handy if and when you are eventually decide to seek out that investment like that. So just this is an overview of the today's session. Just the what about the overview of the table of contents of today's session? Start with that introduction. What is the nature of ideas? How to make a pitch for investors, and what are the 9 things to take a pitch from good to great, and finally conclude the session with final thoughts. So this is the overview of today's session. Just I will start with that introduction. So whenever we are talking about entrepreneur or business, so at present everybody we are talking about entrepreneur. So we are in the business world. So the business world is taken over by the startup movement. So whenever we are talking about the startup movement, actually we heard about the unicorns, angels, shark, VC, hockey sticks, burn rates, and accelerator like that. So these are some of the terms it's called as for this startup movement. So all the way we are hearing about we heard about that terms unicorn, shark, VC, angels, and accelerators. Some burn rates like that. So these are the keyword or these are the term it's called for the startup movement. So all we need to know for how that startup or a young business often utilizing the investors' money to achieve rapid growth like that. So in the beginning there is an idea. So whenever we started any idea, so whenever we started any startup or if you want to become the entrepreneur, the first initial step is very important step is ideation phase. That is we want to create our idea. So in the beginning there is an idea. So the idea going from an idea for the next big thing to a successful business, but it's not an easy. But fortunately, the millions of entrepreneurs they walk the same path before us, and we can learn from their experiences. So in that case, the first lesson, being an entrepreneur, the first lesson is you don't need the funding right away. You have to validate your business idea. So that is the first very important step. So whenever we started with our idea, the first lesson being you don't need the funding right away. First validate your business idea. So that's a very important thing. But you will be amazed how far you can go with no external financing or no the funding and all. But that gives you the freedom to experiment, refine your idea, and maybe that it may be even fail sometimes. But in that case, that you will be more mature when you finally meet the investors. So will your idea and your business also. So having said that just let's talk about that funding. The funding is very important. So next important phase is that, and whenever go for going that idea creation, that is a preparation phase is very important. This is probably the most crucial stage. This preparation phase or preparation stage is a very crucial stage. Why? Because facing investors without a serious amount of time of preparing yourself and your that is getting for some disaster or somewhere. So they will know you have not done your homework, and for them it's a definite no. That's the thing. Without any homework or without any preparation or without any practice, it's not possible. Without one day, we cannot get that funding from other external agency like that. So during this phase, whenever we go for validating your business idea, the first stage is the preparation phase. So during this preparation phase, first very important thing, you have to think your idea. That is a very important thing. So you have before that is a think your idea through some innovations or whatever it may be. So that is the first thing. Think your idea through innovation. Second thing, you have to create a pitch deck. So we have to create a pitch deck. Third important thing, we have to create an elevator pitch. So after that, we have to practice our presentation. That's a very, very important. The fourth, practice our presentation is very important. Why? Because we will see in the upcoming slide. Before presenting our idea, that practice is very, very important because the time limit is given by them. So within the stipulated time, we have to present our idea and we have to convince them. So that is a very, very important thing. So the fourth important thing, practice reverse presentation. And the next important thing, do the research on the investor. So that's a very important. Before climbing up, before going for getting any such a funding, we have to do we have to do the research on the investors. So that is a thing. So this whenever we are focusing these 5 points, that is during the preparation phase itself, whenever we are focusing these 5 points, it sounds like a lot. That's not nearly as much as starting and running a company. So roll up your sleeves and let's go to work like that. So that's these 6 steps is very, very important whenever we are under the preparation phase. So that is this is a very important thing. And what are the nature of ideas? So whenever we are focusing or whenever we are coming up with that ideas, so the nature of ideas may be varied. So the idea demand change. Even if our idea is untenably, that is, it's a brilliant, but it will force someone somewhere to change how they do something like that. So that is all the way it's happening. And since many people do not like change and fear change, and the qualities of your idea that you find so appealing may be precisely what make your idea so difficult for people to accept. So that is a very, very important thing. So in that cases, some individuals that fear change so much that they structure their life around avoiding it. So that is a very important thing. So in that cases, when your great idea comes into contact with a person who does not want change, or you and your idea are at a disadvantage. So in that cases, it's a very important thing. Before you can begin the pitch, you have to make sure you are talking to someone that is interested in change. That's a very important thing, or has a clear need that your idea can satisfy like that. So in that cases, the healthy organizations make change easier than stinging that every organization do like that. So the smart organization often depend on the changes. So nowadays every industry, that every organization is their activities like smart. So automatically they depend on the changes. So automatically they will accept the change. So but in that case, the leaders in these happen for the smart people not only encourage the positive change to happen, but expect the people at all the level of their organization to push for it like that. So it requires that more work and maturity for these managers to make this kind of environment successful. But when they pull it off, the smart people are systematically encouraged to be smart like that. So the idea pitching happens all the time. It may be in any meeting or any cafeteria, in any hotel or any common places or any rooms. So all the way, whenever the idea pitching will be happen all the way, all the time. So that is a very important thing. So since most of us don't work in these kind of places, the burden of the pitching ideas that falls heavily on our shoulders like that. So that is a thing. How to make a pitch for investors. So the previous one, the nature of idea, just we have to change the idea. It depends on the investors. So that is a very important thing. That is the nature of idea. But next thing, how to make a pitch for the investors. So whenever that this is a very important thing, how to make a pitch for investors. In that cases, we have to create a successful pitch. Start with a thorough business plan. That's a very, very important thing. The business plan is very important. So before going for the presentation or before going for making a pitch for the investors, all the way we have to go through with that business plan. So from there, it's up to you to definitely identify what makes your business valuable and worth investing in like that. So you may have some 5 pages of the proven financial history and a deep analysis of how you stack up against the competition across the multiple industries. But you simply can't cover it all. So because when you are pitching to that any angel investors or any venture capitalists for the first time, you will often only have around 10 minutes to make your case like that. So in that case, how to make a pitch for the investors. So here you have how to make that pitch somewhat successful manner. First important thing, the first part, we have to create a presentation. So the presentation should be in the form of So the first point is create a presentation. So first, take a time to put together your pitch deck. So the goal is to create a pitch deck that is easy for you to work off and gets investors excited about your business like that. But keep in your mind, you should have a short version that you can speak to within 10 minutes, as well as an extended version that include everything you'd like to give the potential what investors access to like that. So that is a very important thing. So within the stipulated time, you have to present your idea whenever you are making a pitch for that investor. So that is a very important thing. The second important point, before going for making a pitch for the investors, practice your pitch. So that is the thing. All the time, you need to practice your pitch. Here, the not being able to quickly speak to each element of your business makes every other tip on this list virtually useless. So that's the thing. That's why the too many entrepreneurs, they think that just by knowing their business, they can quickly and succinctly explain its value like that. So that's why, and having that killer pitch deck with the eye-popping visuals will be enough to fall back on, and they go into the pitch meetings unprepared like that. So unprepared in the sense nothing but before going for the presentation, you have to practice your presentation, practice your pitch like that. So if suppose they use the 10 minutes of your time in the sense actually only taking the 10 minutes, but you are only just run through the 5 slides out of 10 slides. So another for 10 minutes it will take for running through that remaining 5 slides. So don't do like that. So before, whenever go for the presentation, whenever go for making the pitch for the investors, in that case, first the presentation, and you have to prepare, you have to practice with your pitch as well as the presentation. That is a very important point. The third important point, outline the problem with a story. That's a very, very important point, like narrating the story. Here, begin instead of telling the presentation or instead of telling some theoretical way, just go with that problem with some story. So whenever we are giving the solution for the problem with some story. That's a very important thing. So begin your pitch with a compelling story. It should address a problem you are solving in the marketplace. So this will engage your audience right out of the gate. And if you have done any testing, try to include actual data here. So that is whenever we go for compelling story, data, you can add it in that during the storytelling itself. So if you can relate your story to your audience, so in this case, the investor, even better. So that is the thing. So in that case, we have to ask what industry have they invested in previously, what pain points do their previous entrepreneur that endeavor have. So these are the things. So we have to outline that things. So that's the third important point for the getting the investor. Fourth important point, your solution. So that is a very important thing. The fourth is your solution is very important. Why? Because you have to share what's unique about your product or unique about your solution and how it will solve the issue you shared in the previous slide like that. That is a novelty of your solution, novelty of your solution like that. That is your solution. So keep it short, some concise manner, and easy for the investor to explain to others like that. So that you can make it like that. Yes, you are the solution maker. So the idea is created by yourself. So you are the easily navigate the particular concept or particular solution to that investors or others. So if you are telling something, that it should be in the form of short, precise, and that easy manner. So then only the investors easily they will get the things, and easily they will explain to others also. So that is a very important point, the fourth point. So whenever you are what giving the solution for your the problem or for getting the investors, in that case, just avoid using some buzzwords. Why? Because unless your investors are very familiar with your industry, if they are very familiar, then you can use it. Otherwise, don't never ever use such a technical word or such a buzzword. If you are using it, then you can explain that also. So that is a very important way. That is a very important thing. So that is all the way you have to convince your investors during that phase. That is a solution phase like that. And fifth important thing, your market target. That is a target. That is a market. Actually, I don't say that everyone in the world is potentially your target market, but even if it would be true one day. So because in the early stage there is no market target, but after that that our business may pick up. Then after that we will get some target will be there. So be realistic about who you are building your product for, and break out your market into something that is all the way you have to break a market. So that is a very important thing. So in that cases, if you can try and develop a user persona, so that is a very important thing. Under the target market, we have to create the user persona. So the detail about who are all the end users, who are all the users for using such a product or our solution. So you have to create, you have to develop. You can try and develop the user persona or your ideal customer when speaking about your target market like that. So that will be this user persona will help the investors visualize the potential customer base and the display that you have through that intentionally about what your business will serve like that. So that is a fifth important point. So these are the very basic things. So, but it's somewhat I want to explain these things because it's a very important thing. How we are converting the idea into the business, or how we are getting the idea of making a pitch for that idea for the investor like that. The sixth important point, your revenue or business model. So so nowadays all the engineering students you have to learn about the business model. The business model is very important because all the way whenever we are focusing about if you go for attending any kind of hackathon, so in that cases the business model is very important. So who are all the end users, who are all the competitors, who are what are the technology we are using, some 7 to 8 criteria available in that business model. So that is a very important thing, the business model, your revenue or business model. So here the investors tend to care about this slide. That business model is the most important thing because how will you make the money like that? So based on that, so be very specific about your product and pricing, and emphasize again how your market is awaiting your arrival like that. So that is everything will be denoted in that business model. So that is your revenue or business model like that. The seventh important point, your successes, that is your yearly transaction and milestone like that. So early in the presentation, you want to build some credibility. That is, take some time to share the relevant traction you have made, and this is your opportunity to blow your own horn like that. So that is impress the investors with what you and your team have accomplished to that today. That is a sales or contact or any product launches or any key hiring like that. So all the way we have to make it like that. So that is a success. That is the yearly transactions and the milestone. And next, the eighth point is that is a customer acquisition. That is whenever the marketing and sales strategy, how that customer acquisition is very important. So here, this is usually one of the most skipped sections of an investor pitch and a full business plan. So in that cases, you have to ask yourself, how will you reach your customer? How much will it cost? And how will you measure the success like that? So all the way you have to analyze, all the way you have to make it like that. So you have to ask question yourself, how will you reach that your customer, and how much will it cost, and how will you measure the success like that. So in that cases, that is your financial should easily allow you to calculate your customer acquisition cost like that. That is the eighth point, and ninth point is your team. So that is that whenever we are talking about the investor invest in people first. So your team, based on your team members, so who are developing such a product or such a solution. So that is the thing. So the investor invest in people first, and then idea second. So be sure to share the detail about your Rocking Star team and why they are the right people to lead this company or this project or like that. So that is a very important thing. And also be sure to share what skill set you may be missing on your team like that. So that is also you have to all the way you have to identify it. That is your team. And 10th point is your financial projections. So that is also very important thing. So we have to show what you are projecting in revenue. The revenue in the sense is the product over the next 3 to 5 years like that. So in that case, you must back up your numbers by sharing your assumptions like that. So that is the thing. So all the way you have to do the calculations and everything. You have to make sure your numbers make the sense like that. So that is your financial projection. That's the 10th point. And finally, that's the 11th point is your competitions. So all the way that is you have to, again, this is a very important part of your pitch. Why? Because and many people omit this section, the competition section, or don't provide enough detail about why they are so different from their competitors. Like that's a very important thing. So already the same solution is there, but what is a novelty, or what is the innovative thing, or what is a important part in your solution. So you have to all the way we have to detail you have to describe the things. That is a very important. So in that case, the best way to communicate your value proposition over your competitors is to show this slide in a competitive matrix format is there. So you have to all the way you have to show the competitive matrix format. That is your competition. And the next thing is your funding needs. So that is a thing. Here clear in that whenever we are the funding needs, here clearly spell out how much money has already been invested in your company, by whom, and ownership percentage, and how much more you need to go to the next level like that. So that is a very important thing. So in that cases, you have to ask a question, will you need to raise the multiple rounds of financing? Is the investment you are seeking a convertible note that is an equity round or something else like that? That is the thing. And the 13th point, that your exit strategy. So as per that exit strategy here, if you are seeking large sum of investment capital, like we may say that $1 million like that, in that case, the most investors will want to know what your exit strategy. So that exit strategy is nothing but are you planning on that getting acquired, going public, or something else. So you have done some exit strategy, including the companies you are targeting like that. So that is the 13th point. And finally, proper follow-up. So in that case, the investors will want you to be able to back up your clients. So here, have a well thought out that business plan on that hand to share. So the investors can read more if they would like to do like that. So that is a proper follow-up is needed. So finally, take the feedback and refine your pitch. So this is an overview. This is how to make it. This is very important how to make the pitch for investors like that. How we are converting our idea into that business like that. So that is a very important thing. So here the three important things that ideation, that innovation. The innovation is idea. Actually, with the help of that innovation only, we got the idea, and we will get the idea. So that is the innovation is very important. That is ideation, or that is the innovation. After the innovation, actually that idea, we got some idea. That idea should be protected. So whenever we go for, before making the business startup, or before we entering into the business world, before that, once you got the idea, once that ideation is generated, or once the innovation is created, you go for protecting such an idea. That is called as the intellectual property right. So just keep in your mind, these three parts is very important: innovation, IPR, and after that, startup or entrepreneurship. So the first point, innovation. Here our topic is the pitching the idea into business. So the idea into business, for converting the idea into business, between the idea into business, one more important step or one more important things to be done, that is a intellectual property right, IPR. See, nowadays you people are aware of that patent, copyright, or all the things. That is a trademark, everything is there. So suppose the idea, if any idea is there or any design is there, before making that idea or the innovation into business, just to do that, go for that right, that go for that intellectual property right. So you have to register the patent, go for that patent filing, patent publication, or patent grant like that. So that's a very important. See, actually in this discussion, just I'm converting that idea into startup or idea into business only. But just make a note, in between the idea and business or idea into startup, one more important point is there that idea or innovation can be converted into that intellectual property right, that is IPR. So based on our idea, based on our thing, we may go for the patent, copyright, or what a trademark, or so many types of IPRs are there. So you go depends on our work, we go with that kind of intellectual property right. That's a very important. So the innovation, intellectual property right, and finally entrepreneur or startup like that. So that's a very important thing. So here only just in this presentation, just I'm focusing about how we are converting and how we are pitching the ideas into what a startup or business, business like that. That's the thing. So next thing, the 9 things that take a pitch from good to great. So already we have seen something relevant to that, how we are converting that, how to make a pitch for the investors. But here, 9 important things take a pitch from good to great. So already we discussed some 14-15 points, but out of that 15 points here, another important thing, the 9 things. So first thing, so already we discussed some 14 points, but out of that 14-15 points, here something is very important. So already we have seen 100 of startup pitch to the angel investors and venture capitalists, and most of them at best are something is just okay like that. But there have been plenty of good ones that hit all the key components of a pitch, but only a handful of those took it a step further and were truly great like that. So in that cases, what are the missing? How we are converting our idea that pitching from the good to the great one in the sense. First, very important, tell a real customer story. That's the first point. When possible, open your pitch by telling a real customer story that addresses the problem your product or service solved in the marketplace. And that is the thing. Already I told you that using some technical talk or buzzwords whenever you are telling the story like that. And another important thing, whenever we are telling the story, that it's simple and realistic. That story should be in a simple format as well as it's realistic like that. So that is a very important thing. And second important idea, that is for pitching good to the great, in the sense here pare it down to the essential like that. See, nowadays I have heard many entrepreneurs deliver their pitch as if they are actioning out their grandmother's antiques or like that. So it must be because they think they need to address every aspect of their business plan in one fell sweep. But doing so makes them seem that it is a dense manner, or it's sometimes it's a nervous, or even it's something. It's not a meaningful manner. So that's why I always wish that they would relax and realize that when you are giving a pitch, that less is more like that. So that is a very important thing. The third point, outline your business model. Already we discussed in that 15 points. So that is another important. Outline your business model. And whenever the business model, so whenever we go for the business model, every business model having their own thing. See, whenever we are doing the business model, that business model, we have to ask a question. We have to answer the question for this question. What do you sell? To whom? How much do they pay? and how do they pay you like that. So these are some details. So apart from that, some more details are available in the business model like that. And fourth important thing, make sure your presentation is crystal clear to anyone and everyone like that. So in that cases, you have to keep a pitch in the short, sweet, and to the point. That's a very important thing. That's this is the make sure your presentation is crystal clear manner. And fifth point, talk about yourself. That's the thing. So it's important to know that investor invest in people first and the idea second. So in that cases, all the way they actually want to know the team members. That's already we discussed. That is one more point. And sixth point is the tell us. Tell us is nothing but what have you done lately. So that is by this I mean that you should share the successes and the traction your team has had since the inception of your company like that. So it's always surprised me how frequently this is left out of the pitches like that. So that is a thing. That's the sixth point. And seventh point, address the competition heads on. So here in that cases, first of all, never say whenever that address the competition head on in the sense. First of all, never say I don't have any such competition or any competitors or like that. Why? Because this is some mistake. It's but many entrepreneurs say this. Everyone has a competition, but even if it's a indirect or direct competition, it may be anything. That's so in that cases, all the way you have to address the competition head on like that. So next eighth point is that you give the numbers that are behind your numbers. So that is whenever the investors won't even believe it unless you have done it this before in another company like that. So suppose in earlier you have some sort of benefits, some sort of the last 3 years benefits. So in that also you have to explain it during the presentation for making the pitch from good to great like that. So finally show your dawn product like that. So in that case, the product should be so many pitches where the entrepreneur does not even show their actual product. Something actually they will present something and but they end up in end product it will be in the other form like that. So that is a very important. So that for some businesses showing their product is not easy to do, but for most people pitching for funding to investors it is. So that's a thing. So that this out of that 15 points, this 9 point is very important for pitching for making our idea from good to great like that. So another important thing, the 11 points. So we have to include in your pitch deck. So whenever go for actually there is one important point in that pitch deck. Whenever go for presenting, whenever go for pitch deck, in that case, some 11 points should be added. The first point, vision and value proposition. So that is a very important thing. The vision is a quick one sentence. That is an overview of your business and the value that you provide to your customers. So that vision should be in the short and simple format. Second thing is a value proposition. So it's a common for any technical technology or technical oriented company to make their value proposition a comparison to another well-known company like that. So for example, we may say some company, whenever we go for pitching some idea, and sometimes they are telling we are the Uber for pets like that. We are the Netflix for video games like that. So that is a value proposition. So that Netflix for video games, the Uber for pets like that. So that is the thing. So all the way this work, we be careful to make sure your comparison makes sense, and you are not just using a high-profile company like Uber to signify the growth potential like that. So that's another important point. The second thing is the problem. So the problem in the sense here, if you are not solving some problem in the world, but you are going to have a long uphill climb with your business. So use this slide to talk about the problem you are solving and who has the problem. That's a very important point. And also you can talk about the current solutions in the market, but don't spend too much time on the competitive landscape on this slide like that. So just give a brief description about who has the problem and just about the problem you are solving, and also the current solutions in the market like that. So you have to give the brief description about that problem. And third thing, the target market and the opportunity. So in this slide, whenever you go for using such a slide, that is a for target market and opportunity, here you use this slide to expand on who your ideal customer that is, and how many of them there are. So like that. So you have to expand in that who your ideal customer is and how many of them there are like that. So, and another thing, what is the total market size and how do you position your company in the market like that? So that is the thing, target market and opportunity. And in that target market and opportunity, if you can find the data, the investors will want to know how much people or business currently spend in the market to get the sense of the total market size like that. So fourth important thing, fourth point is the solution. So finally, you have to dive into that, describing your product or service like that. And next, fifth point is the revenue model or business model that is already discussed. So you have to describe your product or service. You need to talk about how it make money like that. What do you charge and who pays the bill like that. And then sixth point is the traction and validation roadmap. So if you already have the sales or early adopters using your product, talk about that here. The investors want to see that you have proven some aspect of your business model as that reduces the risk. And so any proof you have that validates that your solutions work to solve the problem, you have to identify is extremely powerful like that. And sixth point, marketing and sales strategy. So in that marketing and sales strategy, just how you are planning on getting customers' attention and what will your sales process look like. So that is the thing. So you use this slide, marketing and sales strategy slide, to outline your marketing and sales plan. That is a very important point. And the team. So all the way you have to discuss your team and team experiences. That is also already discussed. And financials. So the financials about the last 3 years financial. What are the benefits you got into the last 3 years based on the previous project. So like that, you have to all the way you have to go with your financial aspect like that. And the 10th point is the competition. So like every business has a competition in one from another, one from one form to another form. So even if you are opening up an entirely new market, that your potential customers are using alternative solutions to solve their problems today. So in that case, you have to describe how to fit into the competitive landscape and how you are different than the competitors and alternatives that are on the market today like that. So the 11th point, investment and the use of funds like that. Finally, it's a time to actually ask for the money. So in that way, you are doing this pitch deck. That's a very important. So in that point, you have to you have to tell about your potential investors to need to know how much money you are looking for like that. So that is the thing. That's 11 important points to include in your pitch deck, during the pitch deck. Actually, the first we have seen about 15 points. So the out of 15 points, here the pitch deck is very important. So during the pitch deck, these 11 points to be considered. So based on this 11 point, we have to go with that for getting the business or getting the startup, starting the startup like that. That's the thing. So the final thought. If you got this far, you must be determined to get your pitch right. So that's a great start. The truth is, you're bound to encounter many challenges. So the road lying ahead of you is filled with traps and some tedious climbs like that. So that's why my last advice, whenever we go for that, getting the ideation or getting the idea or what innovation into startup or into business, my humble advice is, for your startup, choose something you are truly passionate about. That's a very, very important thing. So it's proven to be the best way to stay focused that keep your chin up and move forward. So good luck in your venture. Make the world a better place. So the next step, the perfect investor meeting like that. So once again, I am actually it's a very happy to interact with all students and faculty. Thank you so much. Any question?
So thank you, sir, for a valuable talk related how the idea can able to take into the prototype. And sir, related to the students, as we are in the institution level,
Yes.
can you have any kind of suggestions how the students can able to help the institution level to make an idea to be converted to the product with the name of representing in college? So any idea related to that, sir? For example, the students is ready to with an idea, and
Okay.
they are ready to do the prototype.
Okay.
And so once they done a prototype, they can able to try it over in the institution level to know about the performance of the prototype which has been available. So any
Okay.
kind of examples can able
Yeah,
to
yeah. See, actually, nowadays a lot of the investors are there. So during the investors meet, we have to project or we have to present our idea. So once the
okay.
idea is once they are satisfied with our idea, then they are ready to go for startup and other things. So even that startup, we will do it in our college campus itself. So I will tell the things. So in future, any such kind of meeting or anything will be coming, then surely I will update you.
So in your institutions, any other experience to be related to that you are having, sir? How the ideas will be converted to prototype? That the testing process is going on in any institutions level in
Yeah,
your
yes, sir. Actually, the law, actually, from our side, last 4 years, our students are one that both software hackathon and the hardware hackathon. So Smart
okay.
India hackathon from 2017 onward, they are winning the thing. So some of the ideas are got into that product. So from the government itself, they sponsor some project. Say they got 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs like that. So that idea, they converted into prototype. That is a product. So the product is they did their product within our campus itself.
So any examples, sir? Any example products can you able to make it so that
Like we may say the 2017 in Google Hackathon, one of our team, that IT team won that Google Hackathon event. So in
okay,
that
sir.
case, at that time, the 2017, the wheelchair, IoT-based wheelchair. So
Okay.
that IoT-based wheelchair, actually it's a cloud-based that wheelchair. So the caretaker will from the remote itself, the caretaker will identify or will monitor the particular patient like that. So even the wheelchair, movement of the wheelchair everything will be done by the caretaker in the remote itself. So that is an idea. So that idea is converted into product. We got some 10 lakhs for converting the idea into product from the Google developer.
Sir, hackathon is being generally conducted by an MHRD, but you have any experience to make it about how the institution can able to conduct an hackathon, or what is the preliminary that institution level as well as the faculty level to strengthen over to conduct that particular program?
For conducting hackathon in the sense for the student or for getting an idea, what kind of thing?
Yes, sir. For the students only. So, if the institution want to ready out to do the hackathon by their own, so what is the preliminary background work they want to be ready out?
See, the preliminary in the sense, even you are actually your college is conducting one ideathon in coming March,
Yes,
March month.
yes, sir. Next
So
week. Next
even
week.
that also, it's a preliminary for that it's such a kind of a hackathon.
Okay.
Even what the output of that ideathon can be converted into hackathon activity like that.
Okay.
So because that in that ideathon itself, you may get some what problem. You may identify some problem like that. So that problem can be that in future that same problem, that statement that can be converted into hackathon activity like that.
Okay. So let me consider like this, sir. The students is come with an idea, and the idea they want to take it to the prototype. So as a faculty, what is the responsibility to make that actually? Because the students are they know about then they are available with idea, and they are constructing one kind of simple level of prototype. by their own actually. So if they want to take it to the next level as a faculty, what I want to do for that, or any other financial support,
So faculty mentor. The first important point that first we have to identify the team members.
Okay.
How about the team strength? Based on the team strength, the one important thing, the one good presenter actually in that team, the one important thing is the good presenter.
Okay.
That's a very important point because all the way the presenter only will promote our idea into next level. So whether that's a very important point. And another 2 to 3 persons is a technical tech savvy persons.
Okay.
So that is enough, sir. So once based on the mentoring, easily if suppose the team should have that one good presenter and 2 to 3 tech savvy persons, and another 1 or 2 person is it's a critical thinkers. So maybe if the particular person is a critical thinker in the sense, automatically we may go with that winning position for any such kind of activity, either any hackathon. Actually, this is a winning for our college. Actually, we are following such kind of activity only.
Okay. So, sir, any incubation centers are you availing over in your institution, sir, related to our department? Incubation
Actually, 2 to 3 incubation is going on. The one is blockchain technology oriented that incubation.
Okay.
But at present, actually, 2 years back, it was actually that perfectly going on. But now, actually, due to this pandemic situation, last 1.5 years, nothing was happened.
Okay. Sir, what is the pre-incubation? Because when I go through the document related to that, there is some kind of things like the pre-incubation and incubation. So, if I want to start at whether I want to be a pre-incubation center level, I want to construct.
I don't have an idea about that.
Okay. Because if institution want to take over the incubation center, then what kind of financial resource as well as the academic resource that the institution should?
No, the academic resource in the sense only from our side we are providing space.
Sir, it's not audible, sir.
Now is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay, sir. It's okay.
Yeah. So from the academic side, we are providing space for providing such kind of startup. Okay. And from the industry side, they will provide industry person for acting as a mentor and other activities. So these two.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presence. And presently we are having the audience from MBA department, electronics and communication department, as well as from AAA department and mechanical department. So I also thanks to all the heads of the departments and the students to be impatient to listen about maybe this is a crucial one which is needed as professor mentioned about the important points which where we can able to develop, or in where we can able to construct the idea to the prototype, and not only to the prototype you should stop, and once a prototype is being made, what are all the business models we can able to take it, and how the financially we want to construct, or when you are taking an ideas, how the uniqueness should be maintained in the idea. So these are all the important key points which is given by our Professor S. Balakrishnan, sir. Sir, thank you for your present and humble acceptance on doing this, and further we make you for the support the institution level as well as an institution of an IIC of an Arunai definitely will be and make your thanks. And thank you very much, sir, for your presence to give your valuable suggestions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, students, for your valuable session. We will meet shortly on the next session. Thank you.